This is KHOI 89.1 Story City Ames, and you're listening to I Am Able Iowa, where we discuss the ability and disability. I'm Nancy Baker Curtis, public school teacher, board president for the ARC of Iowa, and parent advocate. I'll be your host for today, and today I'm joined by our co-host, JJ Stone from Sioux City, Iowa. I'm super excited to introduce our guest for today. Today's guest is Chelsey Scanlan. She is the program manager at Iowa Compass. Chelsey, I'd like to welcome you to the program and just throw it right on over to you. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your role at Iowa Compass?
Hi, Nancy. Thank you for having us on today. My name is Chelsey Scanlan. I'm the program manager at Iowa Compass. I've been with Iowa Compass for approximately 4 years, coming up on 4 years this October. And in my role, I oversee our contact center and our database operations for Iowa Compass. So I provide support to our contact center and our database teams. And I also provide support to our newly formed training and technical assistance team.
Amazing. Chelsey, what led you into a work field of disability services and advocacy? Was there a particular experience that inspired you, or how did you find yourself here?
Yes, great question. So during my college years, my field of study was sociology and psychology. I actually majored in sociology and minored in psychology. And part of the graduate expectations for those programs was to do a semester-long internship in the kind of the field of your choice, what you were interested in. And I chose to intern in the field of child welfare and disability, and became very passionate in those two areas. And throughout my career, I've found myself working and supporting individuals with a wide range of disabilities, from intellectual or developmental disabilities to brain injuries, physical disabilities, or even mental health diagnoses. Um, During all of those experiences, it became very apparent to me that people often struggle to find and connect with community resources. And seeing that struggle firsthand led me to working with Iowa Compass, where I could be a part of a team dedicated to connecting Iowans with resources that they needed.
That's really wonderful, Chelsey. And I know that when I first came into the disability community, one of the very first things I got was a handout that had Iowa Compass on it. And so just kind of being able to put a face with the organization, I think is such a nice thing. So we're so excited to have you here today.
I'm excited to be here.
So for anyone who may not be familiar, what is exactly Iowa Compass and what does that program do?
Absolutely. Iowa Compass, we connect older adults, people with disabilities, and complex health-related needs of all ages and their caregivers to services and supports in their communities throughout Iowa. We're an information referral service, so we don't do direct services, but we do maintain an online resource database and connect individuals to those services that we list in our database. We also are Inform USA members, and our staff are also Inform USA trained and certified. For those that may not know, Inform USA is a professional membership association for information referral and community navigators.
It sounds like your role and the role that Iowa Compass plays is really quite vast. And I love that you also include not just people with disabilities, but also their caregivers. So oftentimes, I think that caregivers kind of get pushed to one side.
Mhm.
And I think it's important that we recognize that caregivers and people with disabilities are the ones that require those support services. And so
Absolutely.
thank you so much for sharing all of that information. Can you kind of walk us through and tell us if someone comes in or calls Iowa Compass, you said that you do a lot of information referrals. What's a typical interaction like for someone when they contact you all?
Yes, yeah. So every contact can look a little different based on how someone reaches out to us. So we can support people in a variety of ways. So we, of course, have our contact service where people can call us on the phone and chat with us, and we can support them via phone. But people can also reach us via email, text, and chat as well. We also have some people who reach out to us via postal mail, not as many as our other contact options, of course, but that is an option for individuals if they want to reach out via mail with a list of maybe some needs or some support that they're looking for, and we can mail resources out to individuals. So each contact can look a little different just based on how they reach out to us. But in general, we usually get some basic information from people. So that could be their name, their age, their zip code, their disability, if they have Medicaid, a Medicaid waiver, maybe that's Medicare or even private health insurance. And the reason we ask that information, it just helps us make sure we're giving the best, most accurate referrals to that individual. Another thing we might ask is, what have you tried before? We don't want to send people down a path that they've already been, or refer them to somewhere that they've already been connected to. Maybe it worked, maybe it didn't work, but we want to try to eliminate that we're not giving resources or referrals that might not meet the need of that individual. We can also offer resources in whatever format works for that person. For example, someone may call us, but maybe they're driving or they don't have something to pen and paper to write information down, or it's a lot of information, and maybe they struggle with memorizing that information or articulating or that information. We can, if somebody's calling us, we can email resources to people. We can text those resources back out to people. I know sometimes that's helpful just to have it written down and have a list that you can refer back to. So we're always willing to support individuals in whatever way they are most comfortable. We can also, if the person that we're talking to is interested, we can warm connect them to the resource via a phone call, or we can even send a connecting email on their behalf. Maybe they've had a hard time getting a hold of a provider, or they just don't feel comfortable reaching out. At that initial interaction, we can warm connect them and make sure they're getting the support that they need. And then typically an interaction as well will offer a follow-up survey, and that we can send that out 2 weeks after the initial interaction. And that just want to give them time to get connected to the resources and kind of get the ball rolling there. But we do that follow-up survey to give individuals a chance to let us know if the resources worked for them, or maybe they didn't work for them and they want us to follow up with them to further problem solve.
And you
Kind of go
mentioned,
off.
go ahead, JJ.
Oh, I was just going to ask to kind of go off a little deeper from everything you've explained. What kind of support does Iowa Compass offer?
Yes. So we are, information and referral. So we can provide some like just general information, education around some of resources. All of our staff are very, much trained in the various services and supports that are available to Iowans. So we can provide some information, some contact information, be able to share some information on what they might be eligible for or not as well. And then we can give them that list of information and those resources, and we can also connect them a little further to that as well.
Thank you.
And
Of
it
course.
And you mentioned that one of the things you do is when callers or folks contact you, you get their zip code.
Mhm.
So even though you all are located in the Iowa City area, you're
Mhm.
not just helping folks locally in that Iowa City area. You're a program that outreaches across the entire state of Iowa. Am I correct?
Yes, correct. That's a great call out. Thank you, Nancy. Yes, although we are physically located in Iowa City, we support the whole state of Iowa. We even list some services that are kind of on the borders of Iowa. So, for example, individuals that are calling from the western side of the state in Council Bluffs, we do list some services up to about 30 miles outside of the Iowa border. To kind of accommodate those individuals who might be living on a border town, but they might find more resources and supports across the border. Council Bluffs, Omaha area is a great example of that. A lot of people travel across the border over to Omaha for that. So we do list some resources throughout other states on the border, but we also, if they serve a national program serves individuals in Iowa, we also list those services as well. But yes, anyone in Iowa or have a family member in Iowa, or maybe a service coordinator that is out of the state they're working with somebody in Iowa, we are able to talk to anyone throughout Iowa, and we support all Iowans.
So you do go
That's
off of Iowa, basically. Are you nationally known?
I wouldn't say we're nationally known. I know there's some national programs that might list us in their resource database as well, but we do list national resources as long as they have a service that is available to Iowans as well.
Excellent.
And that really does seem to make such a difference. Is I know when my family first received my son's diagnosis, it was just overwhelming. And we just were looking for places that could perhaps give us some support, educate us. And that sounds exactly like what Iowa Compass does. Um, I also know that recently you received the ADRC Technical Assistance Call Center Grant. Um, can you go into a little bit for those who may be unfamiliar? What exactly is an Aging and Disability Resource Center?
Yes, great question. An Aging and Disability Resource Center in Iowa is a state supported network of organizations that provide a single point of entry for older adults, people with disabilities, and their caregivers to find information and access services and support. So this is a partnership with Iowa Health and Human Services. It's a new system alignment that's really bridging those aging and disability services. As we kind of know, historically, those have been very siloed services. They kind of existed in their own realm or their own space. So now we're really bridging those two service groups there, and the intent is to make sure, or make it easier, I should say, for Iowans to find the services and support they need. Iowa ADRC is a no wrong door model. So this means people can get help no matter where they start. So even if your first stop isn't the correct fit or the correct place for you to be, you won't be turned away or left to navigate it on your own. That first stop will help connect you to those resources that fit best for your needs. And that this network, this ADRC, Iowa ADRC network, it brings together a total of 3 different partners. So our newly formed disability access points, our area agencies on aging, and Iowa Compass. So the disability access points and our area agencies on aging, they'll be doing that information and assistance or information referral. They'll be providing options counseling, service coordination, both short and long term, as well as many other services. And then Iowa Compass serves as that statewide contact center, the newly formed training and technical assistance center. And then, of course, we'll also provide that online searchable database of statewide resources through our Iowa Compass website.
It's so interesting to me that aging and disability were put together, right? Once you're in the disability community, it kind of becomes like a no-brainer. Like, oh, well, we're all aging into disability.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I just love that this is streamlining the process for people with disabilities, in particular seniors who may not be as savvy with the internet or
Mm-hmm.
with
Yes.
other modes of communication that exists today. And so I think the fact that it's a call center really does tap in and broaden that ability for people to access that information. So I love that, Chelsey. Um, as we think about this new program, and obviously it's relatively new,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the goals that the ADRC initiative funded funded the grant, and what are really the goals of the program?
Yes, great question. And you're right, very brand new. This kind of systems change started on July 1st. So we're just almost 3 months into this now. But one of the big goals that we have is just really making it easier for individuals to find the services and supports they need. Again, that no wrong door model, no matter where you go, you're going to get connected. So that way, no one's being turned away or being, hey, that's not our specialty, sorry. We're making sure people are getting connected to what they need. Even if it's not the perfect fit the first place you go, you're being connected to the correct place. So no one's kind of waiting, wondering what they need to do. We really just want to simplify access and reduce confusion for Iowans. And another big goal of this project and this grant is really to strengthen the training and support that for the navigators throughout the ADRC network. So those disability access points and those area agencies on aging, those frontline staff that are supporting individuals and family members and caregivers throughout Iowa, really strengthening that training and support that they have.
I love that. I think when you become a member of the disability community, well, it's kind of oxymoronic. You're part of the disability community, but you can also feel very isolated and not
Hmm.
know where to go. And you also have a bit of what we call in teacher talk drip. You're data rich, but you're information poor. You get all of this information, but you're so overwhelmed. You really can't
Right.
sift through it. And you're just processing a potential diagnosis or the lack of a diagnosis. And
Mhm.
you just oftentimes find yourself feeling alone. And I love that this no wrong door model is the model that you're implementing because it really does offer that kind of ongoing support that I think people are looking for when they're entering into a kind of unknown realm. So I love that. So this initiative, it's available to Iowans. It's available no matter where they live in the state. Is there a cost that's associated with this program?
No, not at all. So Iowa Compass, our services are free to the public. So you can call us, email us, search our website. All the information is completely free and accessible to the public.
Love that. Again, as you enter into the disability community, there are so many unexpected expenses that come with
Right.
trying to find services and care. And time, I think, is one of those expenses that
Absolutely.
costs people so much. And so just to have that support that you guys offer and somebody else who's already kind of done the legwork for you seems
Hmm.
like such an advantage. Um, what are some of the ways that Iowa Compass is trying to get this amazing new resource out into the general community?
Absolutely. Great question. We do a lot of outreach events. We'd always love to do more, but we do as much as we can. But we do a lot of outreach events, go to conferences, be able to talk with individuals, with service providers, with family members, caregivers, whoever we can talk to. We do a lot of outreach events to definitely promote, Iowa Compass and the service we offer, and also the EDRC network as well. And we have a Facebook page. We have social media too that we like to share information and be able to connect with individuals in the community as well.
Now that you say that, I think I just saw Iowa Compass at the Make Your Mark conference.
Yes, yes, we had a vendor booth there, and then we have a couple fairs that we're doing this week. The APSI conference where we will be at, and also we have a school transition fair that we are also attending with a vendor booth as well.
I love that it's not just something aimed at individuals, but it's also collaborating with those organizations that are also out there already invested in the community and doing that outreach. It just seems like such a great program, and it makes me wonder, why did no one think of this before?
Yes, I know. Yes, I'm glad that we're, kind of expanding with this no wrong door model and partnering through the ADRC network to really build a cohesive system that can really support individuals and make sure individuals are kind of not getting lost, lost in the sauce, and they're not getting, looked over, that there's multiple touch points where people can connect and get services and supports and get connected to those services and supports. Because you're right, it's a very overwhelming it can be a very overwhelming process, especially if you have a new diagnosis and this is something that's brand new and fresh to you. There's a lot of information and you can just get information overload. And letting, these, ourselves at Iowa Compass or our local, disability access points and area agencies on aging to kind of do that legwork of getting you connected to services, to kind of doing that kind of background research to make sure you have the information that you need and can get connected to those services that will be helpful and supportive.
It
And
sounds
if I
like,
may ask a real question, real quick here, Nancy,
yeah.
uh, to kind of going by everything that you're explaining with Iowa Compass, you don't base yourself on a particular disability, or are you more open to the whole entire community?
Yes, yes, that's a great question. So our focus at Iowa Compass, we're kind of a very specific information referral program. So we have our kind of our specific interest in the realm of disability, and that includes all disabilities and health conditions. A lot of the resources and supports we list are for individuals who have a like specific health condition, and of course the aging population now. So we have kind of our specific interest, but we do partner a lot with 211, our Iowa-based 211 as well, because there are definitely some just general services and supports, especially if you're looking at financial assistance resources. There may be something that's specific to a disability or a health condition, but then there's also the general population services and supports out there. So we do partner with 211, United Way of the Midlands, that is the 211 that covers Iowa, and we use the resources in their database as well to connect people. If there's a resource out there that may not be disability specific, but more for the general population, to make sure we're sharing that information with individuals that we speak with.
And the reason I want to ask that, I know that Nancy and ARC offices have been working with myself being epileptic and traumatic brain injury for several months now. It's been difficult on transportation issues with myself, for the cost of everything has actually been rising.
Absolutely.
On just about everything. And I have not even been able to this month buy myself a bus pass for disability. And actually I had a great person who understood my disability has actually bought my bus pass for this month, but in the future, I don't know if I'm going to have enough for future bus passes. Do you have any suggestions on where to go or how to get some assistance with that in the future, especially since I was not fit for the brain injury waiver program anymore?
Oh, absolutely. That is a great question. That is something that we definitely could connect like your disability access point. There is some funding that they have that can support with that, and there's definitely some other programs that we list in our database that can be supportive of locating maybe some funding or some options that you have for transportation. Like I know we list the non-emergency medical transportation in our database, that we do refer to that program quite a bit for individuals that maybe are looking for transportation to a medical appointment, and they have Medicaid as well. But yes, we can definitely chat and get you some connected to some resources that could be helpful in obtaining some support with getting those bus passes.
Let's definitely do some talking afterwards. I would definitely like to share more detail with you. And
Absolutely.
Nancy herself has been a great help and assistance with this, but I would definitely like to give more detail with you.
Absolutely, yes. Let's chat afterwards and make sure we can get you connected to some services and supports.
And
Thank
I
you.
love this because this is such a real life example going on in real time, right? JJ is located in the Sioux City area. So he is nowhere near Iowa City. In fact, it would be a very long drive, right? But the program that you have and the resources that you offer, they really do go border to border. And when applicable, they even cross those borders to get folks the services that they need.
Absolutely.
I love that. If you're just turning in, you're listening to I Am Able Iowa, and we're talking with Chelsey Scanlan, Program Manager for Iowa Compass. I'm going to have JJ take this next question because I think it just leads into some of the stuff that he was mentioning before.
One of the questions, I do have a couple more, but the main one that I want to ask you first, can you share a few examples of community partners or organizations that you work or collaborate with?
Yes, absolutely. So, of course, our ADRC network partners are some of the biggest partners that we have that we collaborate with. So that would be the Area Agencies on Aging, which would include Northeast Iowa Area Agency on Aging, Heritage, Milestones, Connections, Elder Bridge, and Aging Resources of Central Iowa. And then the newly formed disability access points. And those four are the East Central region, CICS, which is collaborative individual and community supports, behavioral health and disability services, and WISC, which is Western Iowa Services Collaborative. Another one that we partner with a lot, Disability Rights Iowa. We have some tip sheets that we have on our website that we have for very many different tip sheets that are, focused on like education, assistive technology, home modifications, and much, much more. We partner with Disability Rights Iowa on many of our tip sheets. Some others that come to mind would be Money Follows the Person, MFP program, Easter Seals Iowa, Brain Injury Association, the DD Council. We work with those organizations on a variety of projects with these agencies, and we do a lot of cross collaboration to support individuals that they work with. A couple other that come to mind of just individuals who, work alongside with people with disabilities and their families would be the Center for Independent Living, the ARC of Iowa, of course, and their chapters throughout Iowa, and really any self-advocacy networks and peer support groups.
You people are very busy.
Yes, yes. We have a lot of partners and we're very grateful for all the great work that they're doing in the community. It's definitely a group effort to make sure that we're all connected and working together to make sure we're supporting individuals and their families.
And you mentioned previously, there had been kind of historic siloing of resources and information, especially here in Iowa. So many things had just been kind of done regionally. But this really seems to take that idea and kind of throw it out, right? That we're better together, we're better when we're interconnected. Um, are there any specific examples that you can provide that are designed for caregivers or older adults with disabilities? I know you mentioned you have an event coming up for transitioning into adulthood. I'd love to hear some more about those sorts of resources if you could.
Yes, yes, great question. So our local area agencies on aging, they have so many great services and supports for caregivers, specifically, and older adults with disabilities. But they do a lot of work in their communities that they serve. Each of those six, area agencies on aging, they do a lot of work and support with caregivers, and so those are definitely some great resources if you're a caregiver for an older adult with a disability. And then our newly formed disability access points as well. They have a lot of services and supports out there for people with disabilities and their caregivers and their family members. Some great resources that come to mind when we're looking at transitioning to adulthood and adult services and programs. A few that come to mind would be Voc Rehab, and those centers for independent living and Ask Resource Center. There's an entity that we refer to a lot when we're speaking with parents or family members of a youth that they have in the high school setting, and they're looking at transitioning to adulthood to have that support and building that community to make sure they feel comfortable as their child is transitioning to maybe those adult life or adult services, that they have all the information and support ready to be adequately prepared for that transition.
And we've had some of those organizations on our program before. And so to hear you mention them again, just again reinforces this idea that instead of us all just kind of staying in our own lane and doing our own thing, we're going to instead collaborate and try to work together to provide Iowans with the resources they need so that they can live their best lives right here in Iowa. And so I just absolutely love that, Chelsey. Um, So obviously we're kind of in a technological age. The students I work with at the middle school where I'm employed, I like to refer to them as digitally native. If I can't figure out how to do it, I just turn and ask one of my students because
Hmm.
undoubtedly they're going to know how. And so obviously technology is playing a huge role in making this program possible. Um,
Definitely.
how is technology playing into improving access to disability services today?
Yes, it's so important. As we all know, we live in a world where everything is online. Technology allows our online searchable database at Iowa Compass to be available 24/7, no matter where you live. You can get on our website and search for resources, and you have that information at your fingertips. And also just it's important to us that our resources and our website are accessible to everyone. So that's part of technology is just making sure the website is accessible, especially to individuals who use screen readers to make sure everyone has access to those services and that information. But additionally, as you think about it, like technology, it just improves barriers, or I'm sorry, yeah, improves the barriers for various services. So like having options for telehealth and virtual services and supports. As we all know, Iowa is a very rural state. There's a lot of rural communities where, people have to drive a long ways to just have a doctor's appointment or some sort of, interaction where, now we have options for like telehealth or just virtual meetings as well. Then technology with assistive, technology, when you're looking at screen readers and adaptive devices that give people more independence, whether that's out in their communities or at their home. And just in general, just evolving technology just allows us to connect with our peers and participate in events, even if that's virtually. You're able to build community anywhere. You can build it in your own community, or you can build it, in your state or even nationally. Be able to be connected with individuals that just share similar interests or similar situations.
Yes, technology has really moved mountains, and it's amazing what we're able to accomplish now. In some ways, technology makes us more kind of isolated, and in other ways, it really does connect us. And I think the ADRC is a great example of how it's connecting us and making it easier for us to gain access to the things that we need to be successful and live our best life. Um, so, as we talk about living best life, I'd love to hear a little bit about the real life impact that your organization has had on people. And obviously, privacy is important, and we
Of
don't want
course.
to um, name names. But is there a success story that really sticks with you, or someone's life who you've changed because they've been connected to Iowa Compass or the ADRC resource that you wouldn't mind sharing with us?
Absolutely. There's a couple that come to mind. A couple specifically. I'll kind of go through the different examples. One, I know there was an individual we had spoken to on a couple different occasions, but they were having a hard time getting their Social Security disability application approved. Of course, and the financial, impact and struggles that comes along with that as you're waiting. And we were able to connect them with a resource that could help maybe expedite that process, make that process go a little quicker, and just help them get the application completed correctly. And we were able to hear back from that individual that they had spent years trying to get that approved, and it was approved in a matter of months. And how excited they were to be able to get that approved, and how that was just life-changing for them. Another example is we had, individual call who, shared they were, hearing and visually impaired and needed some support finding some adaptive housing. And we were able to get them connected to services in their community and that we're able to help them, and that we were able to provide those resources in a format that was the most accessible for that person. And finally, another example I can think of, we recently spoke to someone who identified they had a neurological disorder and they just needed funding for a walk-in shower tub to make their bathroom more accessible. But as we were talking to them, we, just were listening to their story and listening to them share the information that they were providing us. We really identified that they could, not only use funding for that need, but they maybe had some additional needs. Just maybe they, needed some in-home services and supports. That would be something that would just be very beneficial to them that they didn't know where it was available to them. And we were able to chat with them about that and provide them some not only resources for the initial call, the reason for the call for the funding, for making the bathroom accessible, but also to provide some agencies that could help with some in-home services and supports. And we did hear back from this individual that they were able to get the help that they need, and they were so happy and so excited that they were able to get connected. So those are always great stories to hear from people.
Those are amazing stories. And I think stories like that really do help to um, put the focus where it matters on people, right?
Right, yes.
That what you're doing is more than just providing a database, but you're
Mhm.
actually connecting people with a lifeline to services that improve the quality of their life. Um, and
Absolutely.
I just I absolutely love that. And I love hearing real life impact stories like that, Chelsey, because any of us could be that person. We just have to get on the phone or we just need to send the message, right? And try and do something. And there's somebody there on the other line who can help you navigate what can seem nebulous and complex when it's just because it's new and unfamiliar. But it
Hmm.
sounds like you all have a team of experts that are just there on the other side that are just eager to help. And when you're
Absolutely.
navigating a system that can seem overwhelming, finding
Absolutely.
someone who is so kind and helpful just really does feel like a blessing. So I just love that. Um, you'd also mentioned earlier that you guys always do a feedback loop, that you think it's important that you not just connect people with services, but then you follow up and you find out, how things are going. Is there more that they need, right? Because oftentimes I think you think you may have solved your problem, but then you get into it and you realize, oh, maybe my problem wasn't what I thought it was, or maybe I need a little more support than I believed I did. So, can you just talk to us a little bit about the ways that you collect feedback from your participants and what some of the things that you do with the feedback that you get from people that have utilized Iowa Compass?
Absolutely, great question. So we send a follow-up survey out. We can send that out a couple of different ways. Primarily, we send it out via email or text. It's a survey form that you fill out with some different questions. You can answer as many questions as you like, or as few as questions as you like, but it's always up to the individual completing the survey. So we always try to ask at the end of any conversation if the individual agrees to a follow-up survey and what method would be the best method for them. So email and text are the primary ways we send surveys. We can also call individuals on the phone and walk through the survey with them if that would be their preference, of course, as well. So we actually began this in November 2024. So we're approaching about right at a year of doing this to give the individuals that we work with an opportunity to give us feedback. Did the resources we gave them, did they work or not? Did they run into any issues? Did they get what they need or did they not get what they need? And then it gives them an opportunity to request for us to follow up with them. So that way we're kind of circling back around. We're hoping everything worked out and you're able to get connected to the services you need, of course. But if you didn't, we want to know and we want to be able to follow up with you if you need some more support in connecting to services. So then kind of gives us an opportunity to see that and be able someone to self-report that they would like some more help, and we can connect with them further to see, are there additional needs that they discovered they had? Did they hit roadblocks somewhere? Maybe their funding for a service was out, or there was a really long wait list. And so, although they're on the wait list, they still have, maybe a 6-month period where they need something. We want to hear from them so we can make sure we're connecting them. Maybe if there's like an interim service that we can help connect them with to kind of meet their need for that period while they're on the wait list. So those are some different ways that we're gathering feedback. Additionally, just this in the next couple weeks, or starting now in the next couple weeks, we're gathering some feedback on our public website and our resource database. We want to make sure that so we want to see what the public thinks of our website and our database, what works well, what can be improved. We want to make sure, again, that our resources are accessible to people as possible. So we want feedback. Are there challenges that you have when using our website, and what are ways that we maybe can limit those challenges and make it just easier and more accessible for you. So we would love for the listeners to fill out this survey. I'm hoping we can share a link that can be shared with the Facebook Live to send people over to do the survey. It's a quick form. It should take maybe 5 minutes or less. I think there's 9 questions on it. But the form is also listed on our Iowa Compass website, which is iowacompass.org. And we additionally are going to have a virtual feedback session on October 1st at noon from 12 to 12:30 p.m. and October 2nd from 3:30 to 4 p.m. So if someone would prefer to be able to chat out like, hey, these are some thoughts or ideas I have on the website. We want to give people an opportunity to do that in a virtual in-person session where they can provide that feedback rather than the form if that was their preference.
I absolutely love that. And I love the feedback loop. And I also think finding out, oh, well, you were able to connect with the service, but maybe you're on hold in order to
Mhm.
utilize and access the service is a really important thing to know too. Um,
Yes.
that does that information go then to, I know you said that your grant comes from HHS. So if you collect data around individuals who are needing to utilize specific services, but they're finding gaps in services or wait times that are, I don't want to say unrealistic, but longer than to be
Mhm.
expected. Is there a feedback loop then between you and HHS that also takes place?
Yes, absolutely. Great call out, Nancy. Yes. So if we identify any unmet need, we call them unmet needs. So there may be a service that is listed for that service, but you're right, there's a long wait list. And so even though there is a service available, it's not going to meet your immediate needs. Or there might be a need that you have. There isn't a service available for Iowa for that service. We want to know that because we document those unmet needs and provide those in our reporting to report back to Iowa HHS and our funders to be able to say like, hey, individuals are calling us and looking for these services and either they don't exist. So it gives them feedback of, hey, this might be an area to explore for services, or it's also a good tool to be able to say, hey, these services exist, but there's long wait list and we need some services maybe in the interim to help people while they're waiting to get, on this, off this wait list for this service.
Yeah, I mean, I could see all of those factors coming into play with the program, like Iowa Compass. Number one, because there's so many things that you're trying to connect people with, right? And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't go through and periodically kind of not update, but just make sure, is everything on here being utilized effectively? How often, the frequency of it, and then have some sort of reporting back feature for that. You may be spending funds in an area that don't require that amount of funding, or you may have an area that's a great need that people have not recognized, and we need to be allocating more funds that way.
Absolutely.
Um, so I just I could see that as being a really important feedback loop, and so I just love that. Um, why do you think having this centralized information system and this referral system like Compass is just so important to a state like Iowa?
Definitely. And Iowa is very unique. Many states, they rely on just their general helplines throughout in their states. But in Iowa, we have a dedicated disability and aging information referral system. And we, like I said earlier, we utilize 2-in-1 all the time, provide those kind of those general assistance resources, and they're such. And 2-in-1 is such a wonderful and a fantastic resource for Iowan. But there is that benefit of having a service like Iowa Compass, where we have this specialization that Iowans will get because we have people, that truly understand disability and aging services that have just a vast knowledge and background of these very specific services to be able to not only refer to those services, but be able to communicate about those services and provide some more information or context about services. And additionally, as we had talked about, Iowa is just such a largely a rural state, and many people just don't even know where to begin for services, especially if they don't actually physically see that in their local community. If they don't physically see, an office of this provider in their local community, they might not know that that resource is even available, that there's a coverage area where, they might not have physical location in that area, but there is they serve that area and that's a resource to them. So having a program like Iowa Compass and also within the ADRC network, really just being able to bridge those gaps by gathering, information from across the state and even national programs that Iowans are eligible for and have them in one system so you can easily find, hey, these are the resources that are available to me and my community.
Are there professionals in health or social services how they can connect with Compass to refer clients or collaborate?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. We talk to a lot of service providers. We and case managers. So anybody can call us at our 1-800 number, which is 1-800-779-2001. Or you can also email us, which is information@iowacompass.org. You can also visit our website at iowacompass.org. There's a contact tab that you're able to send an email through the website or even chat with us on that website. And we know, social workers, case managers, service providers, those individuals are all so incredibly busy. So please reach out to us. Let us do that work for you. Let us kind of do the legwork, gather some resources, and get those back out to you.
Could I ask that you just one more time share your number and email again? That way they can make sure if they missed anything to write it down, and that way they can definitely get a hold of you.
Definitely, yes. Again, our phone number is 1-800-779-2001, and our email is information@iowacompass.org. And Iowa is all spelled out, so it's IOWA compass.org.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
So as we look to the future, what are some of the goals that Iowa Compass has for these next few years?
Great question. One of them is continue outreach, continue to get the word out so people don't have to navigate systems on their own, and continue and build to build and strengthen our training materials that we have. The more support and the more training we can provide to our system navigators, that support trickles down to the individuals and the family members and the caregivers utilizing those supports and services. We want to continue to strengthen our partnerships. Continue to grow relationships with organizations and community agencies throughout the state. And then, like we kind of chatted about earlier, technology. We just want to continue to improve our technology. Information is only as good as how accessible it is. We want to make sure the information and our website, our information is easy and clear for individuals, their caregivers, service providers to use, to be able to access our website and find the services and supports that they need.
And you
Do you have
said
any
that,
upcoming events or webinars or resource fairs you'd like to highlight or share?
Yes, absolutely. So I know we had shared the APSI conference we're going to be at this week, the Iowa Ability Fair that's put on through the United Spinal Association. That one's in October, on October 18th. Iowa Compass will have a booth there, along with the Autism Society of Iowa Fall Conference in Des Moines on October 24th. We'll also have a booth there. There's a Heritage Caregiver Wellness Day that's in Iowa City on November 6th. And then also there's a Quad Cities Caregivers Conference that's put on by Milestones Area Agency on Aging. That one's in Davenport on November 8th, and we'll also have a booth there.
Nice.
And then you also said that you're collecting feedback on your website. And this is really a great opportunity for individuals who utilize Compass services to give their 2 cents and to give you any tips or feedback that you all can use to improve your site's accessibility. Can you just go through that again for us?
Yes, absolutely. So it's a Microsoft form survey. It's about 9 questions long, and we just want to gather feedback on, how is our site easy to use or not? What do you have any ideas or suggestions for improvement? What can make our website easier to use? And have some prompts to give people examples of like some tools or some sort of technology, being able to, for example, maybe like bookmark or save resources when you're looking at our database. Would that be helpful to people or not? We really want to know what works well, what doesn't work well, or even to give feedback of, hey, I've used this database, at this agency has a database that I've used before, and I thought this feature was really cool. That would be really great if Iowa Compass had a feature like that. We really want to get that feedback from individuals to find out, from the public, what's working and what's not working, so we can make sure we're kind of tailoring what our website is and how it looks and how it operates to be able to, evolve and meet the needs of Iowans. So we have that Microsoft form survey, which I can share with you all, that we can share along with this our interview today. But then we also are going to offer, in case, maybe, Microsoft Form Survey is maybe not really the mode that you're comfortable with providing feedback. If you want to be able to have a conversation and chat with one of us to be able to provide that feedback. I know sometimes in like a group setting, everybody, the wheels get to turn in, and, I think everybody can kind of bounce ideas off each other, and you're starting to think of things that you weren't thinking of before. So we're offering a virtual session on October 1st at noon, and then October 2nd Summit at 3:30 p.m. That people can register via a Zoom link to join to be able to share feedback in kind of this virtual in-person session as well.
It sounds, and I love that you're asking for that feedback. Having gone to the Iowa Compass site and tried to use it before, it can seem overwhelming. There's just so much information. And if you don't know what you're looking for, it's kind of like, how do I find what I'm looking for? So it seems like partnerships with community members, feedback loops, that continuous cycle of improvement and inquiry are really at the heart of what Iowa Compass is doing. So I just love that you're taking all of that feedback into the account. So I want to thank you for that. Um, it also seems like really what you're trying to do is have this ongoing connection with the community members that you're providing these services for, and just opportunities for members to get involved, even if they're not the one helping to make that referral. So if you are a community member and you are interested in trying to get connected with Iowa Compass, whether through volunteering or a partnership or advocacy, what's the best way to go about doing that?
Definitely. Yes, we always welcome collaboration with agencies, providers, self-advocates to identify any of those service gaps or build a stronger system together. Great ways to get to advocate and to partner with us, share information with others. If you are talking with someone, even if in your personal life, that has identified that they, man, I really need some help with this, or I could really use support with this, give them our contact information, have them call us. We're happy to chat with anyone and get them connected to the right place. We're also on Facebook. You can like us on Facebook and share our post to share our program information with others. That's just really the best way to partner and kind of advocate for Iowa Compass. And what we do is just really get the word out there to individuals, share information and ask people to give us a call, because we're always happy to get people connected and get them the information and resources that they need.
I love that. I love that. And I think it's leads us right into, as we get ready to close up, we just have about 5 more minutes left. And so I want to make sure that we really share your message. And I'd like you to share with our listeners, those who may be watching us online. I follow you on Facebook, and I happen to be one of those people who likes, because that's it makes it easy for me, right? It's right there on my phone. But there are lots of folks who still listen and enjoy listening to the radio. So if they're one of those folks is out there and they're listening, what message would you like to share with Iowans living with disabilities who may feel isolated or unsure where to turn to get support?
Definitely. I would just want them to know, you're not alone. There are services and supports out there. Please reach out to us. We can connect you with the services in your community and chat with you, about, the situation you're in and help you identify or problem solve maybe some resources or solutions. You know who your local disability access point is, or who your area agency on aging is. Reach out to them. They're as part of this ADRC network. They have so many great services and programs that they can get you connected with and get you connected to other providers. And also just your experience matters. If there isn't a program that's meeting your needs, like please let us know. This, like as we chatted about earlier, that information can help shape and improve the services that we have in our state.
And we heard it on this show, right? JJ has an issue and you're going to help him solve his problem. And even if you can't give him the direct solution in this moment, you're not going to give up on that. And so I love that commitment piece, that feedback loop, that always coming back around. It gives me hope. And so as we get ready to close out, I'd love to hear about what gives you hope about the future of disability services in Iowa.
Yes, there's many things that give me hope. I think more so now than ever, we just have stronger networks for peer support and advocacy. Older adults and people with disabilities are, more now than ever really shaping services in our communities as they should. That's always just, So great to see and gives me a lot of hope. And just, especially with kind of the coordination we're doing, now throughout the state, part of this no wrong door model, just people can be more easily connected to the services and supports in their community. We're trying to, bridge those gaps and make sure, people aren't falling through the cracks and they're getting connected. And another thing, just thinking that gives me hope is just really just that growth in technology we were chatting about earlier. It's just that, it gives me really a lot of hope to be able to connect to more individuals, especially in rural communities, and make sure information and resources can be accessible to everyone, no matter where you live in the state of Iowa.
On I Am Able Iowa, we love to highlight the ability and disability, right? We love to elevate disabled voices and talk about things that impact individuals with disabilities and their caregivers. And this program, the ADRC, really seems to be a fit with that, right? Because you're able to utilize this program regardless of where you live, regardless of the disability you have or diagnosis that you have or don't have. And so I'd love to hear from you, Chelsey. What does being part of I Am Able mean to you personally and professionally?
Yes, personally, definitely an honor to be a part of I Am Able Iowa because, it is a platform that lifts up the voices of people with disability and the organizations that support them. And then professionally, it just aligns so well with the mission that we have at Iowa Compass of connecting older adults and people with disabilities, complex health related needs, and their caregivers to services and supports throughout Iowa. It just gives us a chance to further connect and reach individuals where they are throughout the state to be able to support them. And this show just creates a great space for collaboration and community. And just really, really grateful for the opportunity to contribute to this dialogue today.
And we're very grateful to have you. And we are going to make sure that you and JJ get to connect so we can help solve
Definitely.
this problem. And so I just would like to thank you both for being a part of this conversation today. This is KHOI Story City Ames, and you've been listening to I Am Able Iowa. I Am Able Iowa airs the first and last Saturday morning of each month at 9 a.m. at KHOI 89.1 FM. You can also hear us streaming live online at khoifm.org. We invite you to share your comments, questions, and program ideas with us at doug@thearcofiowa.org. And if you visit www.thearcofiowa.org, you will find previous episodes and more information about our program. I Am Able Iowa is produced by the Arc of Iowa, headquartered in West Des Moines, Iowa, with local chapters here in Ames and across the state. Thank you for listening, and until the next time, this is Nancy Baker Curtis and JJ Stone saying, You are able, Iowa.